Welcome back. Thank you so much for staying with us. Once again, you're watching NewsMaker Live on DBS television. Before we put the telephone number on screen, what do you think about the media, the relations between the media and the previous administration? Yes. Because as far as I'm concerned, yes, it was not good at all. It was strained.
Yes.
Strained.
It was a strained relationship, and as I observed it, the Labour Party seems to be taking offense to anybody at the time who had an independent thought. And if you express anything in the media as media practitioners that wasn't in their favor, then automatically they think that you're opposed to them. And I don't believe that they gave the media in St. Lucia the leeway to be a little bit more independent. It seems as if they wanted to control every single person in the media. For example, I'm looking at Radio St. Lucia. I hope this incoming government changes that, making Radio St. Lucia something like the BBC, although it's government-owned, government-funded, but allowing all political organizations access to a taxpayers, radio station. It bothered me that the way the St. Lucia Labour Party actually turned Radio St. Lucia into almost as if it's the private station of the St. Lucia Labour Party. And everything that came out of Radio St. Lucia seems to be not even a government information program like we're used to, but it seems as if this was owned by the St. Lucia Labour Party. I think they violated the St. Lucian people in a lot of ways, and with some of the shows that we had, that seems to have been just curtailed or designed to promote the St. Lucia Labour Party. I thought this was a disgrace. For my part, I couldn't even get my ads on there, because they would, even before the elections, they even would question, would they want to know what kind of ads these are, that those ads are all about, blah, 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 and if it's not what they think I should be saying, then it can't be aired, you understand? And I think freedom of the press is important. The St. Lucia Labour Party, I believe, made a big mistake by turning Radio St. Lucia into their home, as if it was a station owned by the St. Lucia Labour Party.
Okay, telephone number on screen right now so that we can take your calls. And for my guest, once again, he is Mr. Thurl Prudent, and is the political leader of the LPM. So in just a moment, we'll be taking your calls on the broadcast, so please stay with us for that. But in a general sense,
yes,
what do you think it will take for third political parties like yourself, like yours, sorry,
yes,
to become viable, to be a force, to be competitive? Will that day ever happen? Because some people are saying this will never happen because St. Lucians are primarily interested in the two-party system, United Workers' Party or the SLP.
Well, I don't buy that. I believe if the LPM is able to, in the next 5 years, recruit credible candidates to run in every single constituency in St. Lucia, I believe St. Lucians will respond. For example, in Grosley, you have a total of, for example, over 20,000 voters. You ask yourself, why is it only 11,000 voted? What happened to the others? But I think if we have 17 candidates in 17 constituency, then it creates the kind of but I'm not talking about just pushing candidates on people, LAPO candidates or candidates who really can't, stand on their own and be independent. Credible individuals, leaders within communities. If we're able to do that, I think those who do not vote will respond. Likewise, we will be able to peel off from both parties.
Okay. In the meantime, people are just going to choose between the two political parties that they believe are credible. That is UWP and the SLP. If for whatever reason they're disappointed by the United Workers' Party right now, I think it's safe to say that they will return to the SLP. Hold that point?
Yes.
We have a call.
Yes.
Good evening. NewsMaker Live, you're on the air.
Yes, good evening.
Hi.
Hi. Yes, I'm calling from East Castries.
Yes, good evening.
And I want to tell Dr. Kenny B. Anthony that we are proud of him, especially the steps he did in ensuring that the less fortunate get the different programs they put, like the 500, the Brussels, and all of these things. And I want to tell him to take heart, because at least now he's free of the burden of the impact, and let them deal with it, because they that put the trouble, to give them a chance to deal with it. And don't worry, the St. Lucia Labour is strong, and we love the St. Lucia Labour Party. The people ask for change, let them have it. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for calling, ma'am. We continue to take your calls. Once again, this is NewsMaker Live on DBS Television. At the call, go ahead, please.
Yeah, good evening.
Hi, good evening to you, sir.
Yeah, good evening to your guest, Timothy.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, I've been watching as...
You'll have to speak up a bit, please, sir. Oh, we lost the call.
Okay, we lost it.
But hope he'll be able to call back. I think I recognize the voice,
Yes.
the gentleman who's calling from Ancillary. Yes. Good evening. Go ahead with your contribution, caller.
Good night, Ken, and good
Hi.
night to you guys.
Good night to you, sir.
Ken, I find Kenny Anthony is a disgrace to the law fraternity. As a constitutional lawyer, our constitution shouldn't be in the state that it's in. And I think I'm very disappointed at him, and we should really do something about that. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think we have another call coming in already. This is NewsMaker Live. Go ahead, please. Okay, what's that call? The next political leader of the SLP, who should that be? Hold that point. Yeah. Good evening. NewsMaker Live, go ahead, please.
Hi, NewsMakerLive.
Good evening to you, caller. Go ahead with your contribution.
This program. Good evening, Timothy. And,
good evening to you, sir. Good evening.
Yes, Mr. Prudent.
Yes, sir.
I am not sure that you are being very accurate in the remark made about Radio St. Lucia. There's just one program of all the 12 or more programs on Radio St. Lucia that the host is political, and he said he is, and he's allowed to be political on the program. And anybody, and you know, it's not fair to say that at all. And the program you're referring to, and I'm sure I know that program you're referring to, accommodates anybody of all political views. Except if you could say that what I'm saying is not true.
I've never been invited to this show.
No, but you could invite yourself.
No, I can't invite myself.
No. Okay, I'll tell you why you're not. If you're not invited, I'll tell you why. You have the support of less than 0.1% of the population. You should not even be on television because
I should not be on television.
In your vibe. You know what I mean?
Well, maybe you're not, but I had 152 persons out of this country interested in what I had to say on Monday.
Hello?
Yes, continue, caller.
And if yeah.
I met you in person a day or two ago at the gas station in Grosley.
Mm-hmm.
And I told you that you would be a lot more viable and important to the electorate if you are not preaching the same thing that the other... you need to be, as I said, you see like Donald Trump, for example, outside the box, we are fed up with both parties, and then they're just regurgitating and repeating the same thing over and over and disappointing us over and over. If you want to be viable, you should come in for a completely different story. You should be anti-establishment because the establishment is the problem. If the establishment makes good people like Kenny Anthony look bad, and not only on Kenny's side, I mean the other side as well. I mean, I have a high degree of respect for the likes of Mr. What's his name? On the UWP side, like Mr. King and Mr. Spider-Man too. I met him personally. I said, hey, if you're going to be political leader,
So you do love the establishment, don't you? I mean, you're speaking double standards here. So you do love, secretly you do love the establishment.
No.
Yes, you do.
The system, when I say the establishment...
but they are part of the establishment.
Socio-economic system that favors a few and, and then...
But who keeps our system that way? It's the politicians who keep our... That's right.
So that
that's
we
right.
don't want those politicians anymore. We want a new vibe, a new thinking, a new approach. We need a new constitution. Now, unfortunately, the chance of any new constitution is dead forever under this new party that's been just brought into office. And I'm appalled at that. And then I wish you'd be coming for a different message out.
So why haven't you come out to assist us in getting the right message? It's easy to make the criticisms from outside, but why haven't persons like you come to the fore?
Listen, I'm not a politician. I'm part of the population of St. Lucia. I've listened to you, the politicians, talk a lot of garbage and fooling us and making us believe that things will happen. Right? I'm telling you, move out of that. Move out of the norm. The norm is no good for us. Okay, so come with a new message.
Sir, I'm not part of the establishment.
Thank you so much for calling, sir.
But you're free to start. Okay.
This is NewsMaker Live. We continue to take your calls once again for my guest, Mr. Thurl Prudent. Good evening. Good evening, contribution caller.
Good evening.
Hi, good evening to you, sir.
Yeah, and good evening to you again.
Good evening.
Honestly speaking, I have a lot of time for Mr. Prudent.
He's one of the politicians who I see articulate his points very clear.
Thank you.
A very intelligent man.
Thank you.
And even if he's not actually now have his full slate of candidates, but I think in future if you really start doing what
Yes.
you're doing right now and get ready, and I believe that you'll do a very good impact in that society. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so
sir.
much for calling,
Thank you
caller.
very much.
Another call coming in. Hello, good evening. Please go ahead with your contribution, caller. Hello.
Hello.
Hi, good evening to you, caller.
Hello.
Go ahead with your contribution, please, sir.
Yes, I'm very proud of Mr. Prudent.
Thank you.
I think we need more representative in St. Lucia. Honestly, you're doing a good job.
Thank you, sir.
Better keep on doing it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for
Thank you so
calling.
much.
And we have another call. Please go ahead with your contribution. This is NewsMaker Live on DBS Television, and my guest, Thurl Prudent of the LPM. Hello. Good evening. Okay, let's move on to the question I asked you earlier on, and that is
Yes.
the next political leader of the SLP. Who
Yes.
should that individual be?
It should be an individual who is knowledgeable, charismatic, a people's person, someone who is not like the former leader.
Okay, so of the elected
Yes.
MPs,
Yes.
Dr. Kenny Anthony says is no longer interested in
Yes.
being the leader of the parliamentary opposition and
yes.
also the leader of the SLP.
Yes.
Of the
Yes.
five. Dr. Ernest Hilaire?
No.
Mr. Philip J. Pierre?
I think Philip J. Pierre is a good man, but I believe that he has become the Labour Party's equivalent of George Marlett, having served for that long, of course elected by his people, rightfully so, but too much of a loyal deputy who never even seems to have even attempted to challenge his leader. And so for me, having been there for that long, it would be a bit difficult for him to try to come with something different that doesn't sound...
Alva Baptiste?
I love him. I like Alva. I had the opportunity to meet him personally last year at the law year exercises in the St. Lucia House of Assembly. We had some constructive conversation, and I think I like his mind, and he would be someone I would think probably. I'm not a member of the Labour Party. I can't tell him who to choose, but I think he would be someone that I think that the Labour Party can tap to lead its party right now.
Somebody has been holding on. Good evening. Are you still there? This is NewsMaker Live. Okay, another caller. But call back, please. We'll be engaging you as soon as you call. It's already 13 minutes before 10 o'clock. Good evening. Go ahead with your contribution, caller. Hello. Hello, good evening. Hello. Okay.
Yes.
Musa, what do you think of Musa?
Okay,
hold that point. Good evening. This is NewsMaker Live. Go ahead with your contribution, caller.
Good night, sir.
Hi, good night to you.
I would like to know about the three seats that Dennery and Belrose and Hilaire, because they said they was going to call, we couldn't ballot back.
Okay, the recount.
Yeah, recount.
Okay, the recount took place in the Dennery South, Dennery North, and also in the Castries South. As far as Castries South is concerned, Dr. Hilaire increased his majority by 3. I think it's about 46 votes now.
46, yeah.
46. In the case of Dennery North, Mr. Sean Edward increased his majority by 5 votes. Okay, ma'am?
Yes, and Belrose.
No, there was not a recount. There was not a recount in Castries East. But Mr. Philip J. Pierre is the new MP. He continues to be the MP. He has been the MP from 1997. So he won that seat, the Castries East seat. Okay, ma'am?
Thank you very much. Have a blessed day.
Okay,
Yes.
you're welcome.
But you asked
I
a
think
question.
he won the seat by a little over 300 votes.
300, yes, yes, about that, yes.
Okay,
yes.
we have another call. As a matter of fact, he won that seat by 336 votes.
36 votes, yes.
Mr. Philip J. Pierre polled 2,901. Mrs. Fortina Belrose, 2,565.
Yes, that's close to it.
Another call. Good evening to you. This is NewsMaker Live. You're on the air.
Good evening, Chairman. Good evening to Mr. Prudent.
Hi, good evening to you, caller.
Mr. Shasny said that this is the people's campaign, right? And this is our movement.
You'll have to speak up, please.
I said, Mr. Shasny said, our new Prime Minister said that this is the people's campaign. and this is the people's movement.
Mm-hmm.
I like those words. I like those words, and I like the fact that those words indicate that our democracy is getting stronger. However, I have a challenge. I, as a citizen, have a challenge for this new government. And I've called your show. I've called your show on a few occasions, Tim, and I always hammer down on this issue. And I've heard that two of your previous callers have somewhat alluded to what I'm going to make mention of, and that is constitutional reform.
Mm-hmm.
If this is the people's movement, if this is the people's show, then I believe that politicians in this country should come to the point where they give the people full control of this country. And I can recall that on the day of on election night, I was switching a bit through the channels, and I finally decided to stick with DBS. And one of the most important thing I've heard in the night, on that night, was Mr. Peter Wickham's statement regarding the Westminster system, right? The Westminster system that is not so cooperative, not so, that's not the word used, but inclusive, right? Inclusive, and that needs changing in order for us to move forward and strengthen our democracy. Now, my challenge is also for the media, because this is a new government, right? And it is the people's movement, to see how the media is actually going to stoke the fire to get this government to really look at this issue. Because both of them sang Kumbaya last year in the House of Assembly. Now, if this is the people's movement, then we should have the right to recall parliamentarians who are not functioning. That's one, we should have that right to recall them. We should also have the right to this, no, not the right, but it should also be so that a parliamentarian cannot be a member or should not be a member of the cabinet. It's just like putting the cat to watch the milk, right? And that is, it has to stop. We need transparency. We need, what is the word that I'm looking for? I can't get it now, Tim, but this is my issue. My issue is constitutional reform. The former Prime Minister, since 2004, issued a commission, right, to look into this, and it is there. And I feel that we have to probe for this. If this is the people's movement, then that has to speak. Thank you.
Thank you so much. What's it, Mr. President?
Well, I quite agree with him. I alluded to that. I spoke on that earlier this evening, and I also talk about ensuring that the government is not a traditional government. That is the government where there's more inclusion or allowing solutions to participate in the management of their own government. And the only way to do that is to ensure that it does not become a government of just flavos, but a government of all St. Lucians. So you don't want to have a government that is only representing some people or some citizens. If you truly want to call yourself the government of St. Lucia, you better get your act together and ensure that all St. Lucians are included in the management of the country.
We have a call online. Hello, good evening. Hello.
Hi, Tim.
Hi, good evening to you, Rick.
How you doing?
All right.
Rudy, how are you?
I'm okay, Rick.
Yeah. Hard luck there, but very courageous. You should be congratulated.
Thank you so much.
I don't know, I disagree too hard with one of your callers when he said that you were too establishment for him. I'm not into that phrase. That's the Trump phrase for the moment. But I can understand. I do understand where he's coming from. There is not enough difference between you and the regular politicians, and people really are fed up with the politicians. This is not a criticism of you. I'm just talking about the times and the way that people are thinking. A lot of people talk to me, call my show, etc., and I think they want something different from what's going on right now. The little goody stuff. You did a lot of nice, good stuff over there in Grosville. I know you did. But I think what we need more of is to have politicians attacking the wrongs that have been perpetuated over the years, perpetrated on the people by successive governments. I was a little bit taken aback when Tim asked you who you thought would make the better opposition leader, and you were very diplomatic in trying not to name one. but Tim was sufficiently experienced to ask you to name one of the 5. I don't know. Tim does those things and never smiles.
Well,
he does those things and never smiles pretty. So, you know, I always try to get him to smile. But anyway, I was very interested in your answer ultimately. Yeah. Why do you think there's a difference between, because you didn't like Kenny Anthony, right? You didn't go for Kenny Anthony's style or whatever.
Yes.
Why did you think there's a difference between Philip J. Pierre and Kenny Anthony? And what is that difference, if I may just hold on?
Yes. I think people would be a different prime minister than Philip J. Pierre, sorry, would be a different prime minister than Kenny Anthony. But I believe the problem for Philip Pierre has been around for so long that I don't believe that, given the fact that he's been under the wings or shadows of Dr. Anthony for all those years, that he would have the capacity to be able to inspire people to want to follow the St. Lucia Labour Party or even bring new blood into the St. Lucia Labour Party. So when persons associate Philip Pierre, they think of Kenny Anthony. When you think of even persons like Dr. Ernest Hilaire, you're probably thinking Kenny Anthony, and Kenny Anthony, a protege of Kenny Anthony.
I want to tell you
Yes.
the exact opposite seems to be true. If you say that for years and years, something like 20,
yes,
Philip J. Pierre has been shadowing
yes.
Kenny Anthony. In other words, almost a clone
yes.
of Kenny Anthony. And you have Ernest Hilaire, who is yet to establish himself.
Yes.
And for us to see what he's made of.
Yes.
But what we saw of him, he certainly had a powerful campaign.
Yes.
Perhaps the best campaign of the crowd in terms of not addressing foolishness.
Yes.
On
yes.
His platform,
I
organized.
I would give him that. Yes.
Yeah, on platform he didn't get into the maybe and the voodoo crap.
Yes.
And so on, none of the screaming and stuff. He sounded like somebody who would be different, kind of what we're looking for, as opposed to a clone, a replica of 20 years, no?
Well, I don't know if many St. Lucians buy that, because the reason why I'm saying this is I'm talking to both members of the St. Lucia Labour Party and also with other parties like UWP and so forth. And their thing about Ernest Hilaire is not of one who seems to be a people's person. And I'm saying this could well have been...
That's a different subject, how popular he is among the guys.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't say popularity has... I agree with you. Popularity have nothing to do with how he's governed, but I'm saying...
No, but I can understand your point.
Yeah, perception.
The point is that Hilaire probably would have a hard time with the Labour Party guys.
Yes, yes.
For their own personal selfish reasons.
Yes.
But if we are looking at something new and something progressive and something promising, by everything we've seen so far, and I'm only taking a wild guess.
Of course, yes.
I mean, Hilaire would be the guy to go. He talks differently, and strangely enough, he has been around Kenny Anthony perhaps longer than Philip J. Pierre has.
Well, he certainly have been. Yes,
and yet
yes.
he does not come across like Kenny Anthony. Thanks, Freddie, and good luck.
Okay,
thank you so much.
Again,
This is there from
thank you.
Rick, the host of Talk. He'll be on tomorrow evening, 8:30, right here on DBS Television. Let's take a final call, and that's the final call on the program, and then we'll take the final comments from you,
yes.
Mr. Thurl Prudent. Good evening. What is your contribution, caller?
Good night, team.
Hi, good night to you, sir.
Good night to your guest.
Good night.
Mr. Montoot, since Mr. Prudent, since you went up against Mr. Montoot, and Mr. Montoot he has a degree in sports medicine.
Okay, caller, the feedback. Please address it for me, please. Your television is on, so just lower the volume. And then, yeah, go ahead, please.
Mr. Prudent.
Yes.
Okay, I'm just putting that question to you. Since Mr. Montoot went up against you in that general election,
yes,
and he's claiming that he has a degree in sports medicine, would you have any information whether he has this degree or any resume about this information, whether he is qualified in that area. I don't know if you have any information since you went up against it.
All right, thank you so much for calling.
Well, I would allow his Prime Minister and those who are going to be appointing him as a member of cabinet to look into those things. I am not here to cast any aspersions on Mr. Montour in terms of his academic qualifications or background. If you realize in my campaign, I didn't focus on any of those things. I just know what my own is, and Mr. Montour, I'm sure, know what his is, you know, and so I won't be caught up in any of this back and forth in terms of who is qualified in what and who really holds a particular degree in a particular field.
Final comments from you, sir?
Yes. I just want to say thank you, team, for having me here. I want to say to the people of Grosley, the 152 who were courageous enough to go to the polls and vote for me on Monday, I say to you, thank you very much from the bottom of my heart. I also want to say those of you who did not vote for me, I respect that. It's a democracy. You have that right within a democracy to choose a candidate or an individual of your choosing. However, I will give you reasons and more reasons in the next 5 years to seriously consider me, because I intend to be a voice in this country. I intend to continue to be a voice in St. Lucia. I have the faith. I have the courage. I have what it takes to be able to continue to articulate and advocate on behalf of the people of St. Lucia and Grosley by extension, and that I say thank you very much.
Mr. Prudent, thank you so much for being my guest on this evening's NewsMakerLive program. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for contributing via your calls. If it's Wednesday, it's NewsMakerLive. Time now for the clip that peaked.
There are over 150 people who are waiting to get on those dialysis machines, but are having to wait for somebody to die. Moi fâché! Moi fâché! Vous comprenez? I said it once. I thought you would have listened. I said it twice. You still did not listen. I said it 3 times. I begged you, if you made a mistake, fix the mistake. No. What do? You go and fool the people of St. Lucia. Have a ceremony at the new hospital. To do what? To give it a name. I thought you were going there to open up the dialysis machines. We're fâchés.
Once again, that's the broadcast. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Timothy Polion, saying good night and see you next time.